Hi, and welcome to episode 6 of the Paris High School Quarterback Club Coaches Show. I'm Jamie Varnell. Eric Wells cannot be with us tonight. Head coach Tyler Clark will be joining us in just a few minutes to break down Paris's win over Westport, bringing in the first conference win in the Tyler Clark era. It was a great night to be an Eagle. They filled the stands, fought the elements and the weather, and we got to see some breakthrough highlights from some young men that we knew were right there on the edge, finally getting their moment in the spotlight. We got to see our little cheerleaders that the high school kids been working with fill the field before the game, and we went all the way through, got to see a touchdown run in the end by Tyler Gerke to finish things off. They kept the cannon going all night long. I don't think they could load it fast enough. Defense played spectacular, probably their best effort of the year. We're going to break that down here in just a few moments, so stay with us when head coach Tyler Clark joins us on the Paris High School Quarterback Club Coaches Show. Well, and we're back. And as promised, head coach Tyler Clark is with us this evening. We thank you for staying with us, and we're going to dive right in. Coach, we got to see this offense look like the offense that we knew it could be. Friday night, things were clicking. Got to see a lot of guys, man, with some big numbers beside their name. So just real quickly, what are some things that stood out to you that maybe are some things you've been working on that you finally saw happen for you Friday night?
Well, offensive line play was consistent, and that's always a big one for us. You've got to do your job up front if you want to have a chance, regardless of who you're playing. So our offensive line played well. I was really, really pleased with the quarterback play. We made a couple mistakes early, and not just the quarterback, everybody. We all made some mistakes early, and you know, the first couple of drives offensively, it looked like we were getting off to a little bit of a shaky start. But, you know, our quarterback really ended up making some really, really good decisions, and I was proud of him for that, and some good throws. And you know, Blaze Woods carried the ball really well. And then we put Eli in after Blaze to kind of spell Blaze. And then Eli started running the ball really well. He ran for a while, and then Tyler Gerke there at the end. So, you know, I was really happy to see those guys kind of have a breakthrough night. And, you know, again, back to where we started, hey, if all three running backs are having that big of a night, that means the O-line's doing their job.
Well, Coach, I tell you, it's hard to say you had a slow start. I know there was only 6 points in that opening quarter, but you moved the ball a whole lot, and the one big thing that everybody was looking to see, and then we felt like it would be the factor in the game, turnovers.
Right.
Did you turn the ball over? Now, we saw the ball hit the ground a couple of times, got on top of both of those both times. One there early in the game, and then
Yep.
And then another late when it was wet. Still got on top of the ball. Good awareness there. So a 0 net turnover there. Well, actually, we'll talk about that with the defense here in our next segment. But hanging on to the ball control. I know that when we were going through film, one of the things you talked about, Blaze Wood at contact. And when Blaze Woods runs the ball, there's going to be contact.
Absolutely. He seeks it.
Yeah, and so what did you see with him, you know, as he was making contact and securing the ball?
Well, you know, Coach Devine does a really good job with our running backs, and what we spent really, honestly, we spent time before the Charleston game, but obviously that showed us we need to spend a little more time with it maybe, is just how we handle the football at different levels of the field. You know, when we're at first and second level, meaning D-line and linebackers, we want to double up on the football. And then as we take it wider from hash to numbers to sideline, we can go ahead and get it in one hand as long as it's high and tight. But you know, I was really, really pleased with the effort from all of our running backs with, you know, doubling the football when we were at first and second level. So I was really pleased to see that.
All right, so we got to see a lot of movement, a lot of stuff on the edge. When Blaze wasn't punishing somebody, and that had to take a toll. If there's anybody that has a shorter roster than Paris in the conference, it's Westport. And so blow by blow, just as we've seen it happen with us and people putting bodies in and punishing it, you guys were able to do that on offense and it eventually wore them down. Take us through the opening score there, that first quarter.
Well, you know, we'd gotten down in the red zone earlier and had a turnover on downs due to just some mental mistakes. We were kind of hurting ourselves. Defense played really well. We had a big interception by Keller Keene early. And Offense had a short field, and to be honest with you, at that point, from then on, we were clicking. We ended up we were throwing the ball well. We were running the ball consistently. We ended up throwing a concept that we call twisters to Keller Keene for a touchdown to open it up. And like I said, after that, things just kept getting better and better.
Well, there's no way we're going to be able to fit all of these catches in to our show. But if you weren't there, Keller put on a show catching the ball. We saw Patrick Richardson doing what Patrick does, both coming across the middle of the field. He's not afraid to go across the middle, but hitting those bubble screens. Mm-hmm. And I think my favorite catch of the night, and I said it in the quarterback club meeting. I told Luke that night. Luke Trusty made a catch, and big old Luke playing tight end, juked the kid, made him miss. Great move, really athletic move. I told him, I said, man, that number one, great move, great effort. So, number two, there's probably going to be genetic testing because the Trusty doesn't usually move like that, juking somebody to get that extra yards. Man, looked great. Just overall receivers. What did you see? What was so different on Friday night?
Well, there were a lot of different things. How West Fork was playing has helped us a little bit, and really, it wasn't a matter of our kids being better or anything like that. We were just consistent in what we were doing. Consistency is such a big deal, and I thought our receivers were not only consistent but very crisp in everything that they're supposed to do, whether it's blocking or route running. If we had a 10-yard dig in a certain concept, they were running a 10-yard dig, not a 9 or 11-yard dig. It's the little things like that matter, and we preach that a lot.
So there was one where you ran the comeback route. I think that is what did you say? Is it the Green Bay?
Yeah, it's Packers.
Packers, yeah. So you call it Packers. I'm catching on to a little bit of the offensive lingo. So you run the comeback route, and we can't see it completely on the film, but what's really impressive about that throw, number one, it may only be like 10 yards downfield, but that throw is about 25 yards.
It is.
Because of getting it to the outside. Number two is that Watts throws that on a back shoulder before he makes the break. And that's just something that you don't see very often from a sophomore.
Yeah, it's impressive. And Chase, I've said it all along, he's just going to keep getting better and better. With not only with his skill level, that kid will be as good as he wants to be. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. But where I'm really impressed with him is his decision making has gotten a lot better, and that's something that's at the quarterback position just as important as your talent and your arm strength and all of those things. So it's really starting to come together for him down the stretch.
Right. The offensive line play, I think, was the key. Mm-hmm. Gave him some more time in the pocket. Also, he moved up in the pocket. We've talked about that several times, stepping forward in the pocket, and then even got on the edge and ran for one.
You bet.
So it was good to see those things. Game gets out of hand, not really out of hand, but 26 second quarter points. You could tell, I think it was the third, fourth score there. Eli breaks one up the middle against 9 people in the box, and you could just tell that was the straw that broke the camel's back. When they've got 9 people in the box, what is the goal? I mean, you really ran right into the heart of the defense and still found a way through.
Yeah, well, and a lot of that had to do with, most of the time, if someone's putting 9 people in the box, we're probably throwing it. But, we were on about the 10-yard line. We were wanting to punch it in. Our offensive line has been playing well all night. And when there are that many guys in the box, it's something we preached to our offensive line about. It's not, you don't have guys. You don't have this guy and this guy. You have gaps. And as long as we stay gap sound up front and we know I'm responsible for this gap, I don't care if it's a safety or a corner or a D lineman or a linebacker that shows up in that gap. Whoever shows up in that gap, I have. And the offensive line did a really good job with that, and that's why Eli was able to do what he did.
So I believe he had 3 touchdowns, I believe 126 yards, getting a little bit of attention now. I got a call this morning, as a matter of fact, from Fort Smith, won a photo and some information on him. And so getting some players now that, again, we've known that ability was there. Mm-hmm. Now we're getting to see it. So let's talk about your number 3 running back. And, we've seen a lot of people touch the ball. Comes down fourth quarter, you've got a second-string offensive line, substituting people all over the offense. Tyler Gerke gets the ball, and he takes it 6-7 yards and just a grind all the way down the field. and it's in the rain. You can't really tell from the film. You can tell the picture isn't as clear. It was raining pretty good by that point. And he scores on a fourth down play where he pushes the pile. I mean, if that's not the epitome of what you want to see in your athletes, it's fourth quarter in the rain, in the elements, and just pushing the pile. Can you tell me a little bit about those two running backs? And we've talked a lot about Woods. Can we talk a little bit about the others and kind of their development this year?
Well, Eli's getting better, and I think Eli would have a lot better year this year. You know, he was sidelined early with a quad injury. Really, this is only his third game back at full strength. And, you know, Eli does a good job for us. Blaze is just so good at what he does. Blaze is going to lead the team in carries most nights because he's such a good ball player. But, you know, Eli does a really good job for us. And you know, next year, Eli will be the one getting all those carries. And, you know, not only that, Tyler Gerke. You know, Gerke is a kid that is very, very talented. A lot of speed, a lot of aggression, everything that you want out of a kid. So I'm excited what he's going to bring to us offensively and defensively in these next few games, and then, you know, next year as well.
Well, Coach, we're going to take a break, and before we do, when we go to break, we're going to cut away to some footage of one of my heroes. And you've heard me talk about this. My coaches growing up were my heroes. They are the people that I'm very close. I have a great relationship with my dad and my grandfather. Outside of those two men in my life, nobody was bigger than my football coaches. And Coach Bill Van Meter is one of those people. He's a special man. He's spent a lot of time in this community and coached for many, many years. And not only that, was not just a good coach. He was a great teacher. And I know when we posted some of the pictures from Friday morning, people from all over town were commenting about it, telling stories about different things. And he told some stories. And for those, if you don't know, Friday Paris didn't have school. We had a parent-teacher conference on Thursday night. Friday there's no school, and so you guys elect to keep the boys, you know, there and keep them in the game, you know, in the mindset of not just going crazy all day and then trying to corral them back for the game. And that all started when the quarterback club took them to breakfast on Friday morning, and Bill Van Meter was a speaker there. We also got to hear from Rick Trusty and a few others. And so we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to cut away, let you hear a little bit of that, and enjoy what our team got to hear at breakfast on Friday morning.
It's an honor to wear the Paris football uniform. It's an honor to get to play for the Paris Eagles. It's an honor to know these guys. It's an honor to have been a coach. It was a great feeling to walk out on the field. Guys, I don't know how you feel, and I couldn't describe it. I was trying to think how I could tell y'all today, but I don't know how to describe the feeling. When I walked out on the field, home or away, yes, there's just something that comes over you. I don't know what it is. It's just an amazing feeling to get to wear the uniform and walk out there and the people cheering and the band playing, your fans there, your family's there, people that have followed your football all the way through. It's a great, great feeling. You're doing something, guys, and I want this to sink in. Y'all are doing something not everybody can do. You need to know that. Football's a tough sport. You got to be tough to play it. You may not think of yourself tough. And I don't mean rough or mean. I'm talking about you got to be tough. So if you play football, guys, you are tough. And I don't expect you to write this down, you know, or anything, but I like to remember something. This is how I describe playing football. Some can and will play. Some can and won't play. Some want to and can't play for some reason. So you're a very, very special group of young men, okay? And you need to know that. Guys, you're not only a team. You and these guys up here, you're a family. These guys care about you, not only just on the field, not just in practice, not just in the weight room. They care about you in your everyday life. You're not just a team, you're a family. What affects one of you guys should affect every one of you guys. What affects one of these guys should affect every one of you guys. Because they love you, you're your coaches, they might be tough. I've run into some of our guys, and one year in the 9th grade, we lost a game at Mansfield, and after the game, some of the guys was throwing up. We didn't have them in shape. I said, guys, don't worry. That won't ever happen again. And the next day, they swore up and down, I run them 50 ring sprints. I don't remember that. They still talk about that. Of course, I don't remember that at all. They remember it. I don't remember it. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But we didn't lose any more games. And we were definitely in shape. They weren't any more throwing up when we got done. And from then on, we run hard. I know it's tough, guys, that you get to do some things no one else gets to do. And I'm honored to get to be with you today. Right now, this morning, get your mind, get your heart, get your spirits ready to play tonight. When you go out there on that field, have your mind, your heart ready, and know in your mind, your heart, we're going to win tonight. We're going to go out there and I just got cold chills, we're going to be West Fork.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. Coach, I tell you, and I know you're an offensive guy, man, best defensive performance by far of the year. And I realize it's not as high-powered offense, but these are the kind of offenses that at times have given Paris fits. We're talking about two programs that a year ago were in the same place. Game goes down to the wire. You don't even have a quarterback second half. You're running back for the whole second half without, you're just injuries depleted. Comes down to get a punt blocked out of the end zone. No, you don't want to talk about any of this, but so this year was it Helena? Where was it you guys coached at together? Marion. Sorry, right, same side of the state.
It is.
Okay, yeah. So Marion, we got the Marion Bowl. So for those of you that don't know, Coach Clark and the coach of West Fork actually coached on staff together. So you know each other pretty well. And sometimes you might think that helps you, but I think sometimes it can also hurt you a little bit. You got somebody that knows your tendencies.
It's one of those deals. Coach Smith is a really good guy, and I think he's a heck of a coach. We had some really good defenses when he was in Marion. He was a defensive coordinator there. It's one of those deals. He's a great guy. I talk to him every week, but when Paris plays West Fork, we're not buddies for that week. And then Friday absolutely. After the game, we'll talk and we'll be back to normal the next week. So that's just how it is.
Right, and so we see this a lot in one of the things we hear in the River Valley is it's kind of weird for us having to play Northwest Arkansas teams. We don't do that very often. The way the conference alignment, we've spent a lot of time up there over the last few years. Paris has seen some real progress, and if you don't believe it, go look at the game film from this game a year ago when these two teams were even based, and then come back. The defense, Coach, I understand we've had offensive growth and there's so much to learn there. You change the defensive scheme up, and the defensive growth, I cannot believe how well they played. I believe the total yardage was under 150 yards. Mm-hmm. Their passing game was 0 for 5 with 3 interceptions. Basically, they said, we're not going to try pass anymore. Yeah. It just wasn't working. So overall, what was the key that just set this thing on fire Friday night?
Well, really what it comes down to is kids finally trusting each other, and it's kind of a bummer that it's taken us to week 8 to do that. But at the same time, it's also a good thing that we have done it. When you play a team like West Fork or Lamar or Boonville that is going to run veer, midline, triple option, things of that nature. It's very important to be gap sound, first off, defensively, and then second, to do your job. You have to do your job and your job only, because if you're doing your job and then you think, well, hang on a second, let me go do this guy's job, well, that's what gets us beat. You can't do someone else's job. You got to trust that the guy next to you is going to do his job, and he's got to trust that you're going to do yours. And I thought we did a really, really good job of that on Friday night. In the back end, our secondary, they were doing the things they were coached to do. Coach Baxter does a really good job coaching those guys up. And they were reading their keys pre-snap. Their eyes were in the right spots, and I think that's why you saw so many interceptions. So
Yeah.
it was a good thing.
It was one of the things I noticed when you were walking us through the film. We haven't got to sit there and walk through some of that on the defense because it just hasn't happened that way.
Right.
And literally, they knew their key, and when that guy moved, they moved with him. It was just good execution. So before we talk about secondary, I want to come back and talk through those 3 interceptions, but because turnovers have been key. So Paris was +3 in the turnover margin on Friday night. I don't think we forced any fumbles, but I don't know that we gave them much chance to. They secured the ball well. It was just going backwards until the fourth quarter. So I believe, to hold somebody to 150 yards total offense is pretty tough anyway. I think they got off 2 runs, and it may have been both of them by the quarterback in the first half. Outside of that, your defensive line. Now you had a couple of small guys that you were moving back and forth on the interior line. I don't know if you combine the 2 of them together if they equal the body mass of either of the guys on either side. But tell me about those guys that are really filling a much needed role for you on the interior line.
Well, we just wanted to, Jimmy Dykeman does a really good job for us at nose guard versus spread teams, but we feel like when we put him at nose versus heavy run style offenses, we almost kind of waste him. So what we started doing is going with some smaller, quicker type guys at the nose position, and really just based upon formation and play, they know what gap they're responsible for, and they're going to shoot through low and as fast as they can. And it poses a little bit of a problem for opposing offenses. And not only does it give offenses a problem, now we've got Adam Chandler and Jimmy Dykeman both at end, and those are 2 big loads coming at you. So it's paid off well for us, and our linebacker play has been really good. They're doing their job and keeping our linebackers clean so they can go make plays.
So Helms and Heiss on the inside, they're filling that role, and both really undersized guys that just are hard-nosed and fighting their way through. So fun to watch that because it's one of those things, if you're watching the game, you don't really see it. You know what I mean? It's all that invisible stuff. But if you slow down the film, what you notice is you got this 150-pound kid that's getting low and basically taking out 2 guys blocking, and it's freeing up either Dykeman or the linebackers to make that tackle. You talked about the linebackers. You said something when we were breaking down film about your linebackers. One in particular, Caleb Varnell. Young, he's a sophomore. He's only in his 2nd start at outside linebacker. You said he's very, very smart. And I know he is in the classroom because I have him as a student there. But tell us a little bit about that and what you've seen from him on the field.
Well, he's going to end up being a really good football player for us. But what's exciting about him is he's just such a good kid. And he's very, very smart. He's very smart in the classroom, but he's also very smart on the football field. He's a very headsy kid. Now physically he's got a little ways to go, but he's just a sophomore, and that's why he's not as strong as he will be even next year. But Caleb's going to do a lot of good things for us, and I'm really, really excited and happy for him that he's seeing some success as a sophomore, because a lot of kids don't see success as sophomores. Sometimes it takes a while to transition to high school football, and Caleb, I think, has had a really, really smooth transition. We're excited for his future.
Yeah, he's a great student, and I might add that we talked about off the field trying to with our male athletes. Period. Our young ladies have set a bar really high.
They have,
with that, obviously, we're shooting. You guys don't notice the difference. We're actually shooting right after our quarterback club meeting on Monday night, because the rest of the week we're going to be where we hope you are, and that's going to be watching some volleyball as the state tournament's in town. Those girls set the bar really high. I've noticed that, especially with this sophomore class, the juniors also, and we've even got a few seniors in there that are bringing the GPA up, number one. And man, we've got some good kids in there. Our efforts in the community are doing much better. Talked to the counselor. We didn't even talk about this off camera, but I talked to them the other day, and we talked to the assistant principal. These are things, by the way, that go into our school grade. When they look at us as a community, our athletes, our football players, and our football team are very active in community service and getting these things done. And so I think it's really important for you to know that, man, they're getting out there and getting things done, and they're getting it done in the classroom this year. Now, before we wrap this segment up, Coach, I want to ask you about that secondary. We've got 3 interceptions. First one was by a kid that gets his hands on the ball quite a bit. Goes up and makes a pretty impressive catch.
Yeah, Keller Keller just is kind of a do-it-all for us. I mean, he catches touchdowns, he catches interceptions. He does a lot of things well. He's a really good athlete, and again, just like Caleb Varnell, a really, really good kid. So it's always fun to see those kids succeed, the ones that work so hard and are smart. So, really, really proud of Keller.
Now the second one, and I was driving back in from Tulsa. I got a couple of boys, and I went to get them and bring them back for some Eagle football. I got back, and I was sitting in my car trying to update the score, and I'm looking down, scared to death because the cannon went off. And I'm listening to Tim Johns, and I'm like, we're on defense. Well, obviously there's a little bit of a delay there with the radio. We got an interception, sent it back 50 yards, and scored real quick.
Yeah, Blake Martinez did a really good job with his interception that he returned. Again, just having his eyes right. He's doing what we were supposed to do. He saw the play coming to his side. He got to where he was supposed to be, looked up the wing, and ended up stepping in front of the pass. And, the good thing about Blake, and really Keller's about the same, but once they intercept it, you're probably not going to catch them.
No, you're talking about two of the smallest kids in the conference, not just on the team, two of the smallest kids in the conference, and maybe two of the fastest kids in the conference. Those kids can flat move.
Yeah, I think so. They're really fast. They're fast. I mean, it's really impressive to watch them run.
So the third one was a little bit of a hard-nosed and something that we've been wanting to see. A kid that a year ago was standing over there next to me on the sideline while I'm taking pictures. Alec Highfield. And this is Alec's second interception this year.
Mm-hmm.
He made a real aggressive play, number one. And so he blew up the end a couple of times and made some tackles for loss. We saw that. But that interception, if he had the wheels that the other two had, he'd probably taken it to the house.
Absolutely. And Alec is another one that, and you can go down the line. Almost every kid you name on our team, we're fired up about the progress that they're making. And Alec's another one. He's gotten so much better from his sophomore to his junior year. And I hope that we see that same jump with the sophomores we have this year, next year. But it's also exciting, for kids like a Keller Keene or a Tyler Gerke or Alec Highfield. They get a whole other offseason with us to learn and get stronger and faster. So excited for what Alec's got coming to him in the future too. It's exciting.
Well, Coach, you basically got to empty the bench and let everybody get some playing time. They put up 6 points late, but you still got your 35 that'll go down. And so you're 1-0 in the playoffs. We said the playoffs started this last week. Need all three of these last ones.
Yep.
So when we come back, we're going to take a look at Greenland and make sure that we get a little bit of an idea about what you're going to see Friday night, because we're going to be traveling north. And if you've seen the forecast, it's going to be a nice and football-like weather come Friday night. So stay right there. We'll be back in just a few minutes and break down this Friday night game.
I want you to do this tonight. You should give 100% on every play. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. 100% on every play. If you're away from where the ball's going, you say, well, it don't matter what my guy now it is on the other side of it. Knock your guy down. Have him up. Knock him down. 100% on every play. Play as hard as you can play. Every play. No slacking. Don't take a play off. Don't take a play off. Every play, go as hard as you can play. When you come in at halftime, you're going to be tired. I said, man, I'm ready to wear out. It's a good time. And guys, in just a few minutes, you're going to bounce back. You're going to feel good. Drink a little of that Gatorade. Drink a little water. You can't have a soda pop. Drink a little Gatorade. Drink a little water. And get ready to go again. Go out and fight. Go out and fight. Every play, don't give up. If you get knocked down, get back up and go get that guy. Go get him. Have him up. Knock him down. Have him up. And win this ball game. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm telling you, you can win this game tonight. I believe in you. Guys, y'all are a good-looking bunch of tough young men. And tonight, I won't get to see you tonight. This is something that was going to come above the game. My wife's celebrating the 70th birthday. You don't miss that, okay? Y'all will learn. I know I learned that. But I'm going to be listening to find out who's winning that ball game, and I will get scores. Amy Trusty will send me scores. So while we're having that party, I'm going to be looking at the phone. All right, we're ahead. If you get behind, don't matter. You just come back and get them. Come back and beat them. Guys, you can do it. Get ready. Right now, decide we're going to win. Thank you guys for letting me talk to you. It's an honor.
All right, well, we're going to take just a minute. And before we go, Coach, we want to talk about Friday night, Greenland. We've seen the weather reports. I know we're going to have some precipitation between now and then looks like it's going to be nice and chilly up on the mountain. And so that's when the team colors for both teams turn to camouflage. And
They won't for us.
it will be something that we need our fans out there. Number one, we talked about that several times. Man, home crowd last week was fantastic.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
And so, man, have just been great all year. It's been great attendance and great hearing you out there. So tell us a little bit what to expect with Greenland. I know they're coming off a big win. A lot of people kind of thought it was an upset. I think we got a lot of teams that are really close in our conference.
Yeah, I mean they beat a pretty good Cedarville team, 41-6. So Greenland's going to be a tough opponent for us. We're going to have to come out and play a really good ball game. Greenland has a lot of speed. They're also very physical, which could pose some problems if we don't match the physicality level, which we plan on doing. But all we're going to have to do, to be honest with you, is just we can't have dumb mistakes. We can't have bad decisions. We could get away with those against West Fork. If we do those versus Greenland, we're going to pay for it. So we've got to be really smart with what we're doing, play calling offensively and defensively, and then our kids have just got to be really smart about the decisions that they're making and what they're doing.
So with Greenland, what kind of offensive set are they going to have, and what is their run-pass balance?
They're a spread football team, kind of like we are. They're pretty balanced about like we are, honestly. They'll run the football, but they'll throw it too. And their quarterback's pretty good size, and he's got a really good arm. And they've got a couple good receivers, but one in particular that he's pretty dang fast. So we better tackle that kid because if we miss him once, he's off to the races.
I can guess who'll be out there guarding him on Friday night.
Yeah.
But okay, so what about their defense? What style are they going to run? What kind of front do you expect to see from them?
They mix it up. They'll play a little bit of an odd front and an even front. So we've got to get our offensive line ready for that, and it'll be a test for them. But if we do the things, if we take care of our business, we're going to be just fine. And that's something that we talk to our kids about a lot. It's not about the opponent. It's not about Greenland or Charleston or Boonville or any of those guys. It's about us. And every day when we show up to practice, we have to have the mindset of when I leave this field in 2 hours, I'm a better football player than I was when I walked on it. So that's where we're at. We're trying to improve who we are. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is. We've just got to get better at us.
Well, Coach, there's a little bit different feel with the team. I think, sure, winning feels good, and coming off a win feels good. But this is the kind of win that we knew we were capable of. It wasn't. It was put away in the second quarter. We've had a couple of chances this year where we could put some teams away. Could have put Perryville away early. I think turn the ball over early. Certainly had every opportunity against Charleston, and then just some other nights where we turned the ball over so many times. So we've got a lot of teams just right there grouped up in the middle. And then we'll have this one on the road, and then we'll come back home for one last game against Mansfield. Put both of these together, put some wins together. Never know. We might be able to get an extra game or two on the end of the year going into the playoffs. And that would be a great feat for an Eagle team that, we've already seen great strides from. And so, Coach, what do you think has been the biggest position growth or area, team growth that you've seen this year?
Well, I'm not going to single out really any position, to be honest, because I don't know that one is too different from the other as far as growth. But the biggest thing I've seen from our team as far as how we've grown is how we handle adversity. And it's something that I say it all the time. And I come back to it all the time. And our kids probably get tired of hearing it, but they're going to have to deal with it because I'm going to keep saying it. How you respond to adversity has so much to do with what the outcome is. And, when I first got here, we were not responding to adversity in the right way. You can't run away from your problems, whether it's in football or in life. You've got to respond in the correct way. And if you do respond in the correct way, the outcome, more times than not, is going to be in your favor. And I think our kids are really starting to buy into that. We've seen it. We saw it earlier in the year, and we're still seeing it late in the year. So that's the most exciting thing to me is we have a lot of young talent that's going to get better, but mentally the way that we are handling adversity and when things don't go our way, that's really encouraging to me as a coach. Because here's the deal: we can talk about X's and O's until we're blue in the face, but so much of this game has to do with your emotions and how you handle things, and we're getting better at handling those things. And it excites me as a coach because, yeah, that's wonderful for football, but all these guys are not going to go on and play in the NFL. Here in 3 or 4 years, they're going to get a college degree, they're going to get a job, they're going to become husbands and daddies, and guess what? You're going to deal with adversity. You're going to deal with things that don't go your way. And, hopefully our kids can respond in the right way, just like they're learning to out here on Friday nights. That's why football is the greatest sport in the world, man. So I'm really encouraged by our kids.
Well said, Coach. And that's something that I think that everybody that's been around the team could vouch for. We've seen a lot of growth and discipline, some of that being self-discipline with this group. Well, we thank you for joining us this week. It's been great. We appreciate you that are going on, that you followed the YouTube channel and going on and watching the show each week. It helps us. We appreciate it. Tell a friend, share it on social media, and you get a chance, come down and join the Quarterback Club. We have some good food, and the way you can tell the weather's turned. They had deer chili this week, but there's always a good meal and a lot of good company. Coach will break down some film for us. Right here at 24 South Express. This is a Varnell Media Group studio in the old KCCO. Coach, this is where they used to broadcast all of our football games. Every game I ever played in or, stood on the sideline in was broadcast out of this studio. And so we're really proud of it, and we'd love for you to come down and join us. So until we can see you next week, hopefully see you Friday night. This is Jamie Varnell, Coach Tyler Clark. We'll see you then.
I remember some of the things that happened along the way. We played a team that was. Are you editing this?
Yes, sir.
They were kind of dirty.